Zal ik dan zo nog Manon nog even introduceren?
Ja?
Gewoon het voorstukje even doen. Van,
Ja?
als laatste gaan we kennis maken met Manon Perry. Nog even een voorzetje of dat het in het interview in het Engels gaat zijn. Het is Engelstalig, dus we gaan haar in het Engels interviewen. Dat ga jij doen, maar Manon Perry, kort gezegd, is professor medische geschiedenis aan de Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam en de universitair docent publieksgeschiedenis aan de Universiteit van Amsterdam.
Ja, dan hoor ik echt heel mooi. Dan doe ik even deze twee. En dan ga ik eventjes kijken of wat er nou gebeurt. Want deze hoef ik denk ik niet aan.
Want ja, langzaam hoor ik ook. Maar heel zachtjes. Doe je hem eens iets hoger? Nu hoor ik het. Maar ik hoor het heel zachtjes.
Dat heeft waarschijnlijk. Ja, dat komt hierdoor. Want jij zit bij 2.
Iets harder nog? Ja. Ja, en ik hoor mezelf nu ook. Haha. Wat handig.
Nu zet ik hem nou weer even uit. En dat kan ik dus hierbij ook doen waarschijnlijk. Dan moet ik mijn koptelefoon aandraaien. Ja.
Wat een feest.
Ja. Eens kijken, horen we mij ook? Eens kijken. Ja, ik ben ik.
Nee, je moet even wat echt in de mic praten.
Nou goed, de tune is in elk geval goed. Dus kijk, nu hoor ik mezelf niet.
Echt een...
Maar nee, ik ben 1. Jawel.
Ja.
Nou, ik vind de tune wel goed. En dan hebben we hier de telefoon. En die doe ik open en dicht. Ik ga op record drukken.
Ja.
Ik ga nog even kijken.
Moet echt dichter bij de mic. denk ik.
Ja, moet ik echt dichter bij de
Ja.
mic. Zo, hoppakee.
Ja.
Lekker ervoor. En dan kunnen we nog even kijken of... ik heb niks met de geluidsinstellingen gedaan, maar...
Maar ja,
Als je
hij
wilt-
staat in ieder geval op record.
Hij
Het
staat
komt
op record,
ergens.
hij
Ja.
staat op- Tierendidoe. Ik loop nog heel eventjes naar de laptop.
Ja.
We laten hem lopen, we gaan straks editen.
Ja. Ja? Hallo, hallo, hallo. Oké. Nou, top.
Het is tijd, dus wat mij betreft...
Alright.
Zal ik...
Zal ik in ieder geval, zal ik eerst het introductiepraatje doen? Ja. Nee, als je hem gewoon open draait, dan begin ik na 5 seconden. Ja hoor. Ja. En als laatste gaan wij in gesprek met Manon Perry. Manon Perry is Engelstalig, dus het interview dat Pieter Bas zal gaan afnemen zal in het Engels zijn. Manon Perry is professor medische geschiedenis aan de Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam en universitair docent publieksgeschiedenis aan de Universiteit van Amsterdam. We gaan haar nu bellen.
Kijken of ze op gaat nemen hoor, want we hebben het allemaal wel afgesproken, maar professoren zijn altijd hartstikke druk. Ik bel haar eventjes, eens even kijken, mobiel. Dat gaat wel over, denk ik. Kijken.
Hey, Pietema.
Hey Manon, you're
Hey,
live
how are you?
actually. You're live.
Just about.
Just about. Well, it's a podcast, but we're working hard. So Hugo is here with me. Say Say hello, Hugo.
Okay.
Hi, Manon.
Hi, Manon. So
Hi, Hugo. How you doing?
I will turn out his mic now because otherwise he will be interfering all the time. Turn down the music a little bit. Manon, so glad that you could to join us and not only now but be a part of this this whole new Historisch College Avenue. This
The sound quality is not very good on this recording. Are you trying to do this live?
yes, we are the sound quality. So you don't hear me very well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't hear you very well.
Okay. Maybe if I put it a little bit louder for you, does this help?
There's kind of a distortion on it. I mean, if it's not recording with the distortion at your end, it's probably fine, but it just means it's a bit hard for me to hear what you're saying.
Okay. We just give it a try. We just go on. I'm not sure how to fix this actually at the moment. So good that we can try this out. Hugo, do you have an idea how to fix this?
No, but we hear everything fine. So, do you hear me better, Manon?
I hear you a lot better, yeah.
Oh, okay. Peter Bas, just go sit here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So we switch?
So maybe one thing to do is just leave big gaps in between you talking and me talking so that you can edit around it if there is a problem with the recording. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Oh.
That was you leaving a big gap.
Yeah.
That's good.
We were switching from one mic to the other. So, Manon, I was already introducing you, and I'm very glad that you were part of this historic college, FNI. And I would like to ask you a few questions because we are very proud that you're part of the college, and especially if you look at your track record and what you're doing right now as a professor. You run an MA track on medical and health humanities at the VU University, and that's open to students and working nurses. And can you tell us about the courses and study options that you have there?
Yes, well, we're really excited to have a range of students in the classroom. So I'm really hoping that some of the people listening will be interested in joining us, because it doesn't have to be people with an existing experience of doing nursing history, just people with an interest in it. And the class is full of students from across the sciences and the humanities, as well as people working in healthcare today. So there's going to be a wide range of experiences and expertise in the classrooms. And we offer a range of courses, so you can either take them as a whole block and complete a diploma, or you can just take one or two of the things that are on offer and specialize a bit later on if you prefer. So we have an intro course, which provides an overview of medical and health humanities approaches, so how people are applying humanities ideas to issues of health and medicine. And then we have two specialized courses that try and use unusual techniques for bringing history to life for our students. So the first one of those is called Knowing by Sensing, and that uses all of the senses from smell and taste and listening to go beyond text and reading and to try instead to think of all the different ways that we gather knowledge. That could be in any interaction. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting for nurses, knowing by senses. I mean, nurses are very, very practical, and we use our smell a lot in our daily work.
Yeah, I think it would be very appealing to medical students and nursing students, right? Because that's and practitioners, because it's something that you're using every day. The whole idea of trying to gather information from a patient about what is going on with them, you rely on the senses and you interact with them. So it's a way of developing those skills, but also showing how we use that to gather information and to share it with others. And then there's a similar. Go ahead.
I've got so many questions for you. Sorry, but so if I want to make this more practical, I mean the idea I have of history is, I mean, we are now actually in a depot with all kind of carton boxes and stuff like that. How would you work with senses in history as a nurse or as a physician if you're doing history research? Can you give an example of that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Okay. can you give an example of how you can actually do research using senses as a nurse in your field, the history of humanities?
Well, part of it is trying to recreate what it might have been like at different moments in history, right? So trying to understand what the smells and sounds and experiences were in a different time. So you can imagine listening to hospital radio, for example, or old recordings to try and understand what it was like to be a patient in a different decade, and to touch the textiles from museum collections, because that's another part of our approach, is to use historical objects and to think about what can we learn about the work of healthcare professionals and the experiences of patients when we touch the things that they use to receive care or to provide care in the past. So we look at things from, the kinds of tools of medical practice, like obstetrical forceps, for example. But we also look at the adjustments made to them by the person who was using them, or the signs of use. So you can see how they became specialized for one person's particular habits and what they might reflect about their interests and their history.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I was rudely interrupting you because you was making a point. You were moving to the second point. I'm very sorry. So continue.
About other courses, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So the after the intro course and the course where we use all the senses, there's this focus on objects in particular, and that's where we go into medical museums and we go behind the scenes. And we talk to the people who look after the collections about the materials that they've been collecting. And there's a chance for students to touch the objects and to do research on them, and even to kind of think about the ways they would bring them together to do an exhibition. So what's their interest and what are the stories they could tell with them? And then we look at how museums are telling stories that influence the ways we think about history and the ways we think about medical care today. So you can look at an exhibit like the Smet at the Boer Harbour, for example, and see how are they collecting what's going on now, so that in the future people will understand this history and what we can learn from it.
And if you look at our own depot and the archive of the Historical College FNI, how would you recommend using that for this type of study and continuous learning?
Well, the great thing about the collection there is that it's all digitized. So you can search through a wide range of photographs of objects, as well as the photograph collection and other documents. And so you can easily pull together a range of things for your own research if you wanted to do an essay or a blog post, for example. And you can put that material online to show other people what you found. So there's a lot of materials there that make it very easy to quickly focus in on your particular specialty or something you really care about and find out more about it.
Yes.
And we can encourage students to work with our own students or to learn from us about how best to do that. If they want to follow your example of making a podcast, for example, or finding other ways to make sure the stories that they're finding out about go out to a broader audience of their colleagues.
Yeah, it would be great if you have this kind of collaboration between nursing students, nursing science students, and students of UvA and VU you are working with. If you look at that's it. Those are my questions. Actually, we were thinking that you might have some questions for me as well.
Sure. Well, I'm really interested in how the Historical College is going to create new opportunities, because I know there's plenty of people out there who might be interested in history but are not sure where to begin. So how will you start putting people together and getting them working on these kinds of projects?
Well, I think the FNE as an institution already worked very hard in putting the basics there. If you look at the different educational models that are on the website, especially geared towards diploma nurses and bachelor nurses, I think there's wonderful material there. But we always struggled as a board, and Nanny Wiegman as well, to get nursing history into the curricula of the nursing schools. And I'm afraid that's not going to change, especially not in the fixed curricula, in the more old-fashioned idea of having in your first or second year a whole block or semester of nursing history. Although I wish that would happen, it's not going to happen. but I do see a lot of opportunities, especially with the new college, which operates as a hub, a liaison between all different institutions like yours. We want to develop in the fourth year where students write their thesis. That has been done before already, but we can expand that to couple nursing students writing their thesis with humanities students and history students, and let them work together on different projects. So I think that's a big step forward to expand that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And also, even if there isn't space in the curriculum for an entire course, there's lots of opportunity to make smaller modules. I'd be really interested in collaborating with the Historical College to make lesson plans or to put things online, maybe drawing on the collections there, so that classrooms can get easy access just for 1 week or one class on some of the topics that we're interested in.
Yeah, wonderful. And I know that Hugo is working on an online timeline for a differentiated nursing work, and we are planning of making more. An interactive online timeline where you can actually search in documents and photos, and it's very visual and easy to work with for students, and you can get more in-depth discussions on the different documents that are linked to that timeline. So many ideas there, I think. And Hugo is giving me all kind of winks now because we only have 2 minutes left, I heard.
All right. Well, I wanted to hear a little bit more about the research project that you're working on with him, because I know that focuses also on what we can learn from history and how it'd be useful for today. But maybe you should also tell us about the vision you have of what you hope the Historical College will accomplish in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and maybe I can combine that, because what we're doing with the RN2 Blend national research on differentiated nurses work is we use a method called learning history, which emphasizes that you have to zoom in on history and what went on to actually make innovative steps into the future. And with differentiated nurses work, which has been going on for 40 years and is not a real answer, it's really important to fully comprehend and understand in the different hospitals, in the different district nurses companies, what went on, and from that history, with the people you're doing research with in that organization, try to make a next step. And I think that's on the research part, but this whole method of incorporating history in our thinking, in our collective memory, to better understand all the issues that are going on. If you look at COVID, or you look at working conditions of nurses, or if you look at treatment of patients, this historical component is crucial. And if I look at Historical College FNI, which is now embedded in the Nurse Association, in my humble opinion, the only right place, we can help and fuel actually new policies on nursing work with a historical perspective. And if I look at where we are at 10 years, and we are a fully grown liaison with a lot of projects in the periphery. How would you say that in English? In the network of all different nursing professions, and we are helping them with developing their work, with looking at novelties, but from a historical perspective. And I think that's to realize that we need more people involved in the history of nursing, and we invite everyone with interest, with knowledge on history of nursing, to join us. And I think the red button, music, yeah. And then to join us here at Historical College. Oh, and there's the music already. I'm not sure if you can hear it, Manon, but we're trying to do 5 things.
I can't hear it, but I'll trust you.
You trust me. We are fading out, and I would really thank you so much for joining us, especially in this busy time for you. See you soon, and thank you so much for the interview.
Thanks a lot. It was great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.